Imagine a time when computers were colossal beasts filling entire rooms accessible only to a select few scientists and engineers. These machines were the epitome of cutting-edge technology, yet they were far from the reach of the general public. The idea of a personal computer seemed like science fiction, a distant dream that only the most imaginative minds could conceive. Yet, in the minds of Bill Gates and Paul Allen, a different future was taking shape. They envisioned a world where computing power was not confined to large institutions but available to everyone. They dreamt of a computer on every desk in every home, a tool to empower individuals across the globe. This vision was revolutionary, a radical departure from the status quo. This audacious dream began to coalesce in the mid-1970s, as the first inklings of personal computing started to emerge. Gates and Allen, childhood friends with a shared passion for computing, observed the technological horizon. They were not just passive observers but active participants in this burgeoning field. They saw not just circuits and code, but a universe of possibilities. Their imaginations were ignited by the potential they saw in these early machines. Their vision was fueled by an understanding that software would be the key to unlocking this potential. They knew that without innovative software, the hardware would remain underutilized. Hardware was becoming smaller, cheaper, but without the right software, these machines would remain inert. The challenge was to create software that could bring these machines to life. The challenge was immense, the path uncertain, yet their conviction was strong. They were determined to overcome the obstacles in their way. Their early partnership laid the foundation for what would become a global technology titan. They worked tirelessly, driven by their shared vision. The dream of a computer for every desk and home was the initial singularity from which the Microsoft universe would expand. This vision would eventually transform the world, making computing accessible to all. The year was 1975. A tiny spark ignited the personal computer revolution, setting the stage for a technological transformation that would change the world. This spark was a microcomputer called the Altair 8800, a machine that captured the imagination of tech enthusiasts. For most, it was a curiosity, a kit for hobbyists to tinker with in their garages and basements. But for Bill Gates and Paul Allen, it was an opportunity, a chance to turn their passion for computing into something revolutionary. They saw that the Altair needed a language, a way to unlock its potential, a way for humans to communicate with its silicon brain, bridging the gap between man and machine. Working with feverish intensity, they embarked on creating a version of the basic programming language for the Altair, a task that required immense dedication and ingenuity. Basics was designed to be relatively easy to learn, making it accessible to a wide range of users. This was crucial for making personal computers accessible to a broader audience, democratizing technology. Their basic interpreter would be the bridge, the key to unlocking the Altair's capabilities. Translating human-readable commands into the ones and zeros the Altair's microprocessor could understand, making the machine truly functional. The development of this basic interpreter was a monumental task, undertaken with limited resources and a lot of determination. Paul Allen famously had to emulate the Altair's Intel 8080 processor on a PDP-10 mainframe computer, a feat of technical prowess. When Allen flew to Albuquerque to demonstrate their creation, the stakes were incredibly high. The software was loaded from a paper tape, a method that seems archaic by today's standards. The tension was immense, but it worked, a moment of triumph that validated their hard work. The Altair 8800 sprang to life, its lights flashing in response to commands. Responding to commands typed in BASIC, a language that made computing accessible. This success was the true birth of Microsoft, then known as Microsoft, marking the beginning of a new era in software development. It demonstrated that software was not just an accessory, but a fundamental component of computing, but the very essence that could transform a collection of electronic components into a powerful, versatile tool, paving the way for the future of personal computing. With the success of Altair Basic, Microsoft began to grow. However, Albuquerque wasn't the ideal location to attract top-tier programming talent. In 1979, Microsoft moved to Bellevue, Washington, a suburb of Seattle. This placed them in a region with a burgeoning tech scene and a strong pool of skilled engineers. The relocation to Bellevue marked a new chapter. The company began to diversify its portfolio of programming languages and development tools. Then came a contract that would alter Microsoft's trajectory forever. IBM, planning to enter the personal computer market, needed an operating system for its new machine, the IBM PC. Seizing the moment, Microsoft proposed to provide not only programming languages but also the crucial operating system. This pivotal decision would soon lead to the creation of MS-DOS. The acquisition of QDOS, which Microsoft would refine and rename MS-DOS, was a masterstroke of business acumen. When IBM launched its personal computer in 1981, it came with MS-DOS as one of its primary operating systems. MS-DOS itself was a command line interface managing the computer's hardware resources. It was the unseen foundation upon which an entire ecosystem of software would be built. The genius of Microsoft's deal with IBM was in retaining the rights to license MS-DOS to other computer manufacturers. As other companies created their own versions of the IBM PC, these clones also needed an operating system. Microsoft was ready, offering MS-DOS to all comers. This strategy ensured that MS-DOS became the dominant operating system for the rapidly expanding personal computer market. The success of MS-DOS transformed Microsoft, providing the financial resources and market position for the company to invest in new areas of research and development. It was the invisible hand guiding the hardware, the fundamental code that powered a revolution in personal and business computing. While MS-DOS was a phenomenal success, the world of computing interfaces was evolving rapidly, driven by the need for more user-friendly systems. Visionaries like those at Xerox PARC and later Apple were exploring graphical user interfaces, or GUIs, which promised a more intuitive way to interact with computers. Microsoft recognized that this was the future, a more accessible portal to the digital world for everyone, regardless of their technical expertise. In 1985, Microsoft launched Windows 1.0, marking its first foray into the world of graphical user interfaces. It wasn't a standalone operating system like MS-DOS, but an operating environment that ran on top of MS-DOS, providing a graphical shell that made computing more visual. It allowed users to run multiple programs in tiled windows and interact with the computer using a mouse, a novel concept at the time. Windows 1.0 was met with a lukewarm reception, but Microsoft viewed it as the beginning of a long-term strategic direction towards graphical computing. Despite its initial shortcomings, Windows 1.0 laid crucial groundwork for future developments in the Windows operating system. It signaled Microsoft's commitment to graphical interfaces and began the process of educating both developers and users about this new way of interacting with computers, setting the stage for future innovations. Windows represented the future, a more intuitive and visually rich environment that aimed to make computers accessible and useful to a much broader audience, transforming the way we interact with technology. The early iterations of Windows had not yet achieved widespread market dominance. That began to change with the release of Windows 3.0 in 1990, followed by Windows 3.1 in 1992. These versions represented a significant leap forward in terms of usability, performance, and visual appeal. Windows 3.0 introduced a more sophisticated graphical interface and better memory management. The impact of Windows 3.0 and 3.1 was transformative. PCs running Microsoft's operating environment began to offer a user experience that could rival Apple's Macintosh. Software developers began to write a flood of applications specifically for Windows. The ecosystem was rapidly expanding, creating a powerful network effect. Then came August 24, 1995, a date etched in computing history. Microsoft launched Windows 95 with an unprecedented marketing blitz, cementing Microsoft's dominance in the operating system market. Windows 95 was a tidal wave that swept across the computing world, making the Windows interface ubiquitous on desktops and laptops globally. By the mid to late 1990s, Microsoft's Windows operating system and its Office suite had achieved near-universal adoption. This immense success brought intense scrutiny and significant challenges. The company's dominant position led to accusations of anti-competitive practices, culminating in the infamous browser wars. The United States Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft in 1998. Despite these legal challenges, Microsoft continued to innovate and release highly successful products. In 2001, the company launched Windows XP, praised for its stability and improved user interface. In the same year, Microsoft ventured into the video game console market with the launch of the Xbox. This diversification signaled that Microsoft was looking beyond its traditional strongholds for future growth and relevance. The early 2000s were a period of consolidation and expansion for Microsoft. Windows XP continued its reign as the dominant desktop operating system. Simultaneously, the Xbox console was gaining traction, establishing Microsoft as a serious contender in the gaming industry. Following the success of Windows XP, Microsoft faced a significant challenge with its successor, Windows Vista, launched in 2007. Vista received a largely negative reception due to performance issues and hardware compatibility problems. Microsoft demonstrated resilience, and in 2009 Windows 7 was released, a resounding success. Windows 7 addressed many of the criticisms leveled at Vista, offering improved performance and a more refined user interface. This era also saw a significant leadership transition. In 2014, Satya Nadella took the helm as CEO, steering the company towards a mobile-first, cloud-first strategy. This new direction involved embracing open-source principles, investing heavily in cloud computing with Azure, and developing innovative hardware like the Surface line. Under Satya Nadella's leadership, Microsoft embarked on a profound transformation, shifting its focus to a vast, interconnected cloud nebula. Microsoft Azure became a central pillar of this new vision. Competing fiercely with Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud, the company began to actively contribute to open-source projects, fostering collaboration and innovation. Alongside its cloud ambitions, Microsoft found renewed success in hardware with its Surface line. Today, in 2025, Microsoft stands as one of the world's leading technology companies. From its humble beginnings with BASIC for the Altair 8800 to its current dominance in cloud computing with Azure, the company has consistently reinvented itself. The original dream of a computer on every desk and in every home has largely been realized. Microsoft's story is a powerful reminder that in the vast universe of technology, the ability to evolve and embrace change is the key to enduring relevance and cosmic significance.